Hello everybody, welcome back to another video of Movie Master Micah. Today I'm going to be talking about the movie 2001 A Space Odyssey. Directed by Stanley Kubrick, probably the most influential film of all time. It's amazing, right? It's very confusing, it's very slow moving, right? It's very slow. It's probably the slowest movie I've seen in my life. Just very long shots of things, but in all, the cinematography is beautiful. To start with that, the cinematography is great. The way they used, costumes with, the, space suit, it's incredible. Some of the most iconic shots in movie history are in this. The music is amazing. Some of the most iconic uses of music and sound are used in this movie. But the main thing I'd like to talk about in this movie is the end of 2001 A Space Odyssey. The end, spoiler warning just for everyone, is the most insane and, for a lot of people, confusing endings of all time. For context, if you haven't seen this movie, there's monoliths. That's what they're called, monoliths. There are these black rectangles that have been found across the world. In the end, they go there to discover where the monolith is. That's the reason they're on the Space Odyssey. At the end of the movie, he goes inside, the spaceman, the astronaut goes inside the monolith. And chaos ensues. He sees a bunch of this crazy, explosions and weird colors. He sees, he blinks and there's different color eyes. All these colors are all, saturated. And it's just insane. I thought, my brother and dad thought it was terrible. I liked it a lot. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. And I'd just say, yeah. It's an objective masterpiece. I wouldn't say personally, I would say it's a masterpiece, but objectively, if that makes sense. Everything about this movie is just insane. It's very mind-bending. If you've ever seen Interstellar, Interstellar has taken a lot of inspiration from this. Yeah. But yeah, the ending is insane. There's just a bunch of these crazy lines and colors. You just have to see it for yourself. And then at the end, he's brought to this little zoo of some sorts, like a human zoo. And he sees himself as a different age. He sees him, so he's maybe 50 in the beginning of the movie. He sees him at late 60s, and then at the end he's 90, 100. And he is in his bed, he reaches toward the monolith, and it shows a gigantic star baby, so a baby in the fetal position going to Earth. Now, what do I think this all means? I'm going to explain that. I think what is happening is there are these cosmic alien beings that have put the monoliths around the world, and it's this source of energy and technology that almost make our technology all over the world. The reasons phones and computers and all that sort of stuff exists. That's what I think they're for. And now, what do I think is happening? I think he's been brought into this monolith, and he's seeing a new world be created. I believe it's kind of the idea of the Big Bang, right? The way that there's this explosion. I think he's watching a new universe ensue, or maybe even the beginning of our universe start, because you see all these explosions and these crazy colors. The reason I think it's an alien universe is because you can see these canyons, mountains of sort, and they're saturated. They're what you would expect, the Grand Canyon to be brownish gray, not gray, brown. They are green and purple. I think it's an alien universe he is seeing, and it's just taking place. He's watching it start. In the zoo, I believe the aliens, I think that's a little more self-explanatory. I think the aliens are basically using him to see if humans are worthy or what humans can do. The idea of, are humans worthy, which I feel is used in movies all around the world. A part of why this movie is so uh, inspirational, influential, in a sense. But yeah, and then what do I think the Star Baby is? I think the Star Baby is, at the end, he goes inside the monolith, back inside the monolith, and he becomes a cosmic alien entity with the others to find more like him in the future. Now, that's what I believe. That's what I think the basic premise is meant to be. But with Kubrick, the director, he is very metaphorical, hidden meanings in a sense. So what I believe this movie is I think it's meant to be about spirituality. The beginning starts with black, just black for a few minutes, trying to insinuate that we started from nothing, just black, to this new world, that, like, all this technology. And then it cuts to monkeys. The idea that we were apes, and then in the same idea as I said with black, we were apes, and now we've done all this crazy stuff, such as, create spacecrafts and stuff like that. I think, and look at that, like, it's like saying we started from here, and I'm gonna just mainly go to the end for spirituality. HAL 9000, probably one of the most iconic movie villains of all time. Let's say he's meant to describe the devil, in a sense. If we're going off spirituality, he's the devil, and he's slowly taking out each person. He kills the one scientist, I can't remember his name, and he tries to kill another, but the other one escapes, almost as if he's getting redemption, in the sense of God as an asking for forgiveness. And then him going into the monolith. It's him finding a new universe, but it's the idea of God, right? It's showing what God is, in Kubrick's eyes at least, what he believes God is like. And the zoo would be like God watching us. That's what God could feel like, in a sense. God feels like we're watching it from a zoo. Or, I'm just going off of what Kubrick is saying. Maybe it feels like that we're in a zoo, and God's the zoo. And that the baby could be God coming back to Earth. Right? The idea in the Bible, in Revelation, it says God will come back to Earth as God and, like, bring everyone to heaven or hell. Armageddon. So I believe it has to do with spirituality. That's just my interpretation. I think you could say man versus nature, man versus machine. There's all so many ways to interpret it, which is why it is so good. It's just, it can be so many ways to interpret it. And maybe it's all those ways. Kubrick is a genius anyways. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's everything that it does. It definitely should have won Best Picture, by the way. I'll say that. Yeah, it's like the most influential film of all time. I think, yeah, it's debatably the greatest film of all time, objectively. Not my personal favorite. I would go Fight Club. But yeah, that's basically all I have to say. I'd say watch 2001 if you have an open mind and you have a good attention span and you can take slow movies. Yeah, follow me on Letterboxd, Shanti Henson, no spaces, ShantiHinson. And yeah, that's it. Like, subscribe, goodbye.